Hey everybody, you're listening to the Wombo podcast. I'm Chip Monk, and with me as always is the Mr. Gimpy.
What's up, brother?
What's happening, man?
Living life, man. Got the got the deltas kick in. No,
Yeah,
they're
got those new 8 kicks, dude.
right.
I asked what time we're gonna do this at, and you're like, "I'm at a buffet."
That's exactly what happened.
I don't know what kind of time frame that is, dude. I'm like, so is that like 7 p.m. or something? You're like,
After
yeah,
buffet, bro.
yeah. It's whatever, true as the moon as arrow shoots with the crow cocks twice, dude. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean, bro? Yeah, I guess just a little country wisdom for you. Just a little country wisdom.
You were ready. You were ready.
Yeah, dude. I've just been trying to learn to program this whole time, dude. I've been sitting around messing with list all day. And that has been terrible. Like I've been
just boring, or just not liking the amount of work, or what's going on?
Like I'm not sure if what I'm doing is wrong or if it's just problems with Unity type of thing. Because like some things will work and then they'll just break randomly. And it was working fine before and I'd changed nothing. And it'll like poop out some error and I'm like, what the fuck? You guys didn't give me this error before? And then I'll like look it up online and like nobody else has this problem. I'm like, is this just a bug? So like, save, I'll start, restart the whole thing and like, then it'll work again. Or like I'll control Z back like a couple of steps and it's working fine again. So
it's interesting. I've run. Are you like using like a guide or something?
No, man, I'm just playing fast and loose.
Okay. I've had it to the point where I've used a guide for something before, and and instead of just writing out the code snippets, right, I'm like, fuck it, it's on the scan, let's copy and paste it, right? And one time I had a project that just would not fucking compile, no matter what, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this? It's all the same, It's like I literally copy pasted because I don't like reinventing the wheel. And then I was like, okay, fuck it, I will just type this shit out. And I typed it out and it worked fine. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, was it wrong in the tutorial? And then I'm looking at the tutorial and like no one is having this issue, and I'm like, am I an idiot? Like what the fuck? Did everyone else just figure it out?
Control C, Control V wrong? Like what happened?
yeah. I mean,
I typed out this code this one time, and it like shot out like 16 errors, and I was like, all right, bet. So I retyped it out and I got like 5 errors. And it's like exactly the same. I'm like, did I miss like a semicolon somewhere? Something. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, I'm still missing it somewhere else. I'm like, this is very defeating, very humbling.
Yep. So one time, or so just these past couple of days, I shared with you, you took a shorter day on a couple days ago for work, and I was working my ass off on like 40 different projects at once.
Yeah, man.
One of the things was putting Linux on my parents' Chromebook so that it could be like a normal laptop, right? And so I was doing that,
Best of both worlds.
And it was fine. I just had to get like some drivers, like using like sudo apt-get or whatever to get it, and that was fine. But like, when I did the firmware update, like the custom firmware for their PC, like the firmware thing wasn't working. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I was like, this code's fine. And it turns out, like when I was typing on that small Chromebook keyboard, where the semicolon was and where the L was like further away than I realized, because I don't look when I'm typing.
Yep.
And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, every single time that this wasn't working, I was putting an L instead of a semicolon. I'm like, well, fuck me. It's like it's something so.
There's a lot of LS
man.
and stuff too, man.
Like
that.
It seems like caps matters sometimes with that as well, at least on that distro that I was using, and it was just like, fuck, pissing me off. But it's all set up now and they're fine. But
I've been getting better at just everything now. I do like for spaces, I underscore, I capitalize every first word now. For everything's capitalized, but not like just the first letter is capitalized, underscore everything underneath, dude. Like I'm getting very unified in the way I do things. I'm color coding things,
parsing. That helps a lot.
Commenting, like it's wild. I haven't been doing too much programming though.
The main thing. Do you program your like controller input systems and stuff, or do you just use like the built-in shit?
I've been programming it right now, but there's like the input system, so you can like. It makes it more universal. So like instead of plugging things in spaghetti code wise, there you like have like another drop down spaghetti code thing that you
Okay.
have a nicer interface into. So it's all the same
Okay.
though. But
It's
like
been working.
you're
Sure.
like you have like action button, and then like that's what you plug in. But that action button like has basically like a spreadsheet like that you can open up somewhere else and be like everything I want to
Yeah.
invoke the action. Like if I want it to be like space or an A button or like if I use in the Oculus, I can use that controller or whatever
Sure.
else. I can set like any kind of universal controls, man. It's
Gotcha.
the
Gotcha.
future. Mobile controls, dude.
Gotcha. So for a lot of the platformers that I've made, I have three separate like kind of input controllers that I've liked, that I've reused. So like
It's like
Ledge
the
Forgiveness,
feel.
right? Right, like Ledge Forgiveness was built into one that where I'm like, okay, I like this, or double jump timing was built in, and I really liked how that felt, so that was there. There was one game that I, just found the design document that I made for it, where it dealt with different gravity shifts. So like, but it was based on the player. So
Yeah.
if you jumped, the gravity was low. If you press jump again, gravity's super heavy. So you could just really, not quite like VVV, but
Yeah.
something
But have some
inspired
control
by
over
that.
the float.
Yeah, yeah. So it was a little. Everything was very crunchy. So
Almost
like when
like
you
a
slammed on the ground, it popped
Mario
things up.
64,
Sure, sure.
where he
Like
has
with
like the
the
pound.
metal thing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was something like that, but it was meant to just like everything around the character was like you had gravity, so like enemies would come to you, you'd affect it, there'd be puzzles that were just gravity, like little gravity puzzles where you had to go back and forth, and was based on the radius from the character. So that was a fun one, but I liked it in concept, but I didn't have a true full game idea around it.
Bro, I'm having the opposite problem
Okay.
where I've been working on that card game, right? So I was like, all right, I
Yes.
finished up the VR mission experience. I think I'm gonna put that out on itch at some point. But from that, I was like, all right, I need something just kind of like fun, like a palate cleanser, something simple. So I started building out like
So
this
you
card
choose a
game.
roguelike card game based.
Yeah, yeah, but like it's more about just learning like a new thing. So I'm
Mhm.
trying to learn how to finally trying to learn like arrays and lists and scriptable objects or whatever. It's things I don't know. It's venturing into the
Yeah.
unknown, mental challenges, gymnastics, if you will. Anyway, I get the cards up and running or whatever, and I have it on a play field, and I put down the card, and at some point, like I was just like messing around. I was like, what if I could control this like a point and click game, like a top down, like so the card actually moves. And so like I started building out like that. And so I have that like where like you move the card around on the board, like almost like a MOBA, like League of Legends almost, like where
Sure.
you control the card like a League of Legends character. And I was like, yeah, this is okay. And then I was like, I don't know if this is gonna feel good or be fun to play, but I have to build so much more like before I
Yeah.
can tell that. And like it's
Yeah.
such an awkward position.
Oh man, let me touch on this for a second, man, because I've when I was when we first started the pod, I was kind of in a creative block, right? So
Yeah.
like whenever I started something, I just couldn't find the fun in it, so I'd scrap it. There is one particular project. It's not the one I just said, but it's a. Do you remember we did a game jam years ago, Professor's old house, where we were making like small dungeon crawlers. Professor was making like the drunk guy like tilting,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
I had an idea of making a dungeon crawler where it was a phone game where you actually shook your phone for dice.
Yeah.
So I got that part working, got the dice part working, and then when it came time for the combat, I'm just like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
dude. I think maybe I discouraged you because I was like, "You're gonna throw your phone across the room, bro. You're gonna
you
break
did say
it."
that.
I
You
was
did
like,
say
"People are
well
gonna
because I.
smash their phones, dude."
Do you remember I had like the like how hard you had to shake your phone like really high, so you really
Yeah,
had to fucking.
you were like, "Guys, check this out." I was like, "Nobody's gonna want to play that, bro. You're gonna break your phone." And you're like, "No, dude, I'm an adult. This is fine." And then like you kind of looked at it, you're like, "Damn it," and walked away.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I made it a lot more, responsive. And
Yeah,
then, but then after I did that, like we all went home, and I was looking at it. I was working on it for a little bit more, and I got to the point where it was time to make like combat encounters and stuff. And I'm like, huh. It just felt tedious. at that point. And
Yeah.
maybe I'll go back to it because I still like the physical idea of actually like shaking your phone to throw dice. It's better. I feel it's better than tapping or like tapping dragging. I think that having a turn-based combat system would work. And I thought, since now I've been playing a lot of turn-based strategy games, and I've been enjoying the fuck out of oh my god, what is it?
I'm just gonna
Not
let this
Castle
breathe,
Crashers.
man.
Yeah, just let it breathe. Just let
It's
me
just like
struggle.
a wet fart, dude.
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
just let it
Pit
hang out
People.
there.
I was playing
Oh, okay.
I was playing a lot of It's literally on my Steam, like right here, looking at me.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of a
I've
name.
just been playing. I'm thinking about
So
playing it right now. You've
I
been
was
playing it
playing.
while we're talking it.
Yeah, right. I was playing a lot of Pit People, and that game is so much fun, and it really strikes a balance between the old grit hex-based turn-based strategy and like a little modernization as well. So I thought of
Yeah,
using that, but streamlining it and making the combat just really snappy. Like I'm stealing your idea from your dice game where you could
nice.
have different multiple dice and stuff. I was gonna make that pickups, and you could use that as special die and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and then go
man.
through it. So once I'm done with this auto runner, I'm going to go back to this dice game and just try and knock something out. Maybe like a good 10-15 minute experience of a game, where you're just like, boom, quick
Yeah,
little
man.
story. So
That's the way to do it. I know, like you play a lot of board games and stuff too, so I feel like you
I used
have
to.
some,
Yeah.
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 Because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if most of my concept was like basically stealing from like Munchkins and then like Pokemon. I was like, well, if I just throw those together real quick, it
Yeah.
was all right. I was like, give it a little couple roguelike elements or whatever, and this is be a fun
Yeah.
little experiment. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you do with that, man. It's you might come back to it. You might break your phone at some point. Did you
Actually,
get
with
any
how my
more?
phone has been the last couple of days, I'm about to break it anyway, so it's a
Dude,
good
I
time.
finally smashed my phone, dude.
No shit.
Yeah, no
The
shit,
one you
dude.
just got?
Yeah, dude. The one like my new phone, like after years of being like having a,
Yeah.
I was early on smartphone technology, dude. So I've
Yep.
20 plus years of having a smartphone, never cracked it. Always mocked everybody else who had
Yep.
a like
Yep.
because
Because you
everyone
never
just
got a
has like
case.
yeah. And then I was like, I don't need a case. Now I'm an adult. I'm not going to drop this thing. And then like I took it out of my pocket and it was like a hot day, so there's like some sweat on my hands, and that thing just like went like a bean toss, dude. Like I tossed it like in the air, and it just like went like flying. It was like only street, so it just smashes on the asphalt, and I'm like, yep. I just like picked it up. I didn't even look at it. I just put it back in my pocket, and I was like, all right, yeah, I got to deal with this later. But yeah,
Yep. Yep.
I
You get a new
replaced the
screen for it
screen.
and all that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I ordered like a kit. It was only like $40.
Yeah,
So
it's actually, if you have any technical know-how, or if you don't, because tutorials are really nice online, but if you have any just, confidence in fixing your own shit, it's relatively cheap to do it.
yeah,
And yeah, I've fixed like all of my family's phones for quite some time, to the point where I don't do it anymore because they were just using me as a crutch.
yeah.
I'm like my dad is the worst proponent of this because my dad does drain cleaning and stuff, so he's
Yeah.
doing some
Got to use the
manual labor and
flashlight
shit.
on there,
Yep,
pictures,
exactly,
everything.
exactly.
It's a
So
utility. It's a work tool, dude.
yep. So he has an OtterBox now, but before he did, he would just use me to fix his phone. So he'd like just drop it, smash it, or whatever. And I'm like, what the fuck? One day I fixed it. He came back like the night of. I was already like in bed, and he's like, hey, I woke up to a text like, hey, I put my phone in your mailbox. I broke it. Can you fix that again? I'm like, what the fuck? It's
Just
like, dude,
do
it's the
this.
same fucking day. It's like, no way in hell. Get a fucking
Yeah.
OtterBox and just stop this. So
It's time to stop.
I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
it's one of those things too where he works with it. He has flashlights, and he has like halogen flashlights, but
Yeah.
sometimes you need to like record while you're doing shit, just so you
Yeah.
can actually see in there and show other, So I get it, but it just pisses me off. So now I only fix my own shit. Like I just did
Yeah.
the Linux laptop for him because it's been years since I've done anything for him. So I'm like, all right, this is your one. But
Yeah.
and,
Get to help
and I
out.
chose specifically to put Linux on the laptop so like shit couldn't break, or they couldn't
Yeah.
get a virus, or the chance of virus is much lower. So I'm like, okay, you're going
Goes
Linux,
way
so you're
down.
doing that, yeah. And they've been already been using like LibreOffice and stuff like that, so it's programs they
Yeah.
know, so it works out. So
I'm digging. I dig
anyone out there
the
with older parents that still want technology
put
but are
Linux
sick
on
of
it.
fixing their shit, put Linux on it and
Give
tell
them
to shut the
Linux.
fuck up.
There you go.
I will say I'm impressed by Linux's printer driver support, dude. they have like an older printer, and that shit just plugged in and worked right away. I had to do nothing. It was just like print. The fuck?
I always
So
try to go back to Linux like every 4 or 5 years, and there's
yeah,
always like one driver that I need that they don't have, and I use like a bunch of weird old specialty software too that only
yeah,
has like Windows support, and
yep.
the Windows emulation wasn't quite where it needed to be, but it's gotten way better. So I don't know.
True.
I might try again in like a year or two.
I'd say just as primarily as a person who likes playing games, it's still not. There's no way I'm gonna daily drive it. It just
Yeah.
there's too much of a workaround to do it. And this is someone who has a Steam Deck and absolutely loves it, but I wouldn't put Linux on my personal computer as of this point. It's just from a pure usability standpoint. Do I have the technical know-how to tinker with things and get it to work? Probably.
Everybody
But
I know always
I don't want to
ends
do it.
up dual booting. Everyone who's like, "Oh, I'm just switching to Linux, bro," they always end up dual booting or like
Yep.
switching back.
To be fair, Professor drives Linux 99% of the time. I
Yeah.
I am the one who forced him to dual boot because of wanting to play Valorant. That is the sole
Come on, play
reason.
real video games, dude.
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
was Valorant and Halo without because with the anti cheat it doesn't work on Linux. So Valorant and Halo, and he's all like, "All right, fine, fuck you." So he
How do you
has
feel
like a
about
very small partition.
the Forge hammer dropping for Halo, dude?
Too little, too late, man. I think that
Yeah, you don't like it? I've been seeing some
I think it'll
crazy
be
stuff.
great once it comes out. I think that some of the great
The
Forge
stuff I've
things are
been seeing,
going to
dude, it's
happen.
been looking nuts, dude.
Yeah, someone remade PT, the Silent Hills demo that was very popular and famously taken off of the PlayStation Store. Someone remade that in Forge, which is
Someone made a
incredible.
tiny banshee.
Yes, seeing the scripting engine within the new Forge is actually incredible, and I probably will jump into it. So I think you know this, but you might not know the full context of it. But in any video game with like built-in level design tools, I always remake two maps. One is
Okay.
Dwango 5 Map 1 from a Doom game. It was from Doom 2. It's one of my favorite like dueling maps of all time, and I will remake that and everything until the end of time. And the second one is Rat Race from the original Halo. Now, other people typically will remake these Halo maps and stuff. I've went to the point on Halo 3 when with remaking Rat Race to the point where I had an Xbox in front of like next to me and a 360 next to me, and I did 1-to-1 recreation of it, including the exact same time to like move to hit a wall and all that shit. I went super in depth with it,
Went
and
deep.
it took 4 maybe 5 weeks to get it perfect, and
Okay.
then someone undercut me and remade Rat Race as well in there, and it
Yeah.
was like just as good, if not better, than mine. I'm like, well, fuck you, before I put it
Like, well,
on there.
some of us got jobs, bro. This is
Yeah, right.
bullshit.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
I'll
I've been
probably
hearing
do that
that
again. And
on
but
the map making community, bro.
hmm
They've been
if you
all
can,
they all say 4 to 5 weeks to like build out like a basic map.
to
So
a map that's usable, because and then I would make some custom like multiplayer maps, and my multiplayer map design like ideal. I design things with like an arena shooter mindset in mind. So I will have I typically will have like a kill box, jump pads. I'm a big fan of jump pads. In there, I think verticality in a stage is good, but I also think that verticality should be in a kill box as well. So you're fighting over it, and that kill box goes vertical as well. So
how do you
I
feel?
think
How do you feel about Splitgate, dude?
I like it, but I think that it I think it squandered its own potential by following what Halo did too closely.
Yeah,
Uh,
look, just I think just look wise, right? Just like
look
the armaments and like the
Yeah,
world
because
design.
I knew whenever Infinite launched, it would just take its lunch, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
I think it did a really good thing of going free to play. It's cross platform and it's fully cross play as well across everything that it's on. I dislike that their grenade. The only thing their grenades are used for is to close the portals. You
yeah.
can't chuck a grenade through and blow somebody up, which I thought would be a better gameplay thing. I think that closing the
I
portals is
didn't
another thing that should be like a separate equipment thing and
I
not
didn't
tied
even
to a
like
grenade.
the portals because like when you're a multiplayer, they could only show one way through. Like you can see if other people are even like actively using certain portals. So it was
That
weird.
worked for a multiplayer standpoint though, because since it was one way, you could use it as a sniping point. So you're on one end of the map, you put a portal over. Only
Yeah.
you can see through that
Yeah,
to
but
shoot
then like
somebody.
everyone, we just ended up with like a bunch of portal looking people, dude. Like that was it. Portal peepers, dude. That was this. They should rename Splitgate to Portal
That's
Peepers,
why I
dude.
thought that having grenades being able to throw through those portals would have hindered that, because
Yeah.
I think that when we played it, when we did, because how many people we have? We had like 10 people playing, right? Maybe
Yeah, we had
more.
like 2, 3 full groups of people at
Yeah, we
one
had a
point.
full squad of Splitgate doing custom games for
We had
hours.
like team
I
v
had fun
teams.
with I had a lot of fun with it. I just think
Yeah.
that the map design for it, I think the portals added too big of a layer to really make a lot of the maps worthwhile. Some of them felt a little cramped, and some of them felt too open. There's no
Yeah.
real nice mid ground. So,
There's like
um,
1 or 2 maps that were like the sweet spot.
yeah,
But like it
yeah.
was like they again like stealing all the DNA from Halo was like, oh, you gotta like randomize maps every round, or you have to vote on like what map we're all going to next. And it's like, all right, this is less fun. Like it'd be nice if you could like have like a map rotation that you want or whatever. Like
Full rotation, yeah,
yeah,
that'd be nice. That'd be nice. I think that Splitgate it's going to be one of those games that is oozing with potential, but unrealized potential. I wish the devs all the best. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad game. I just think that it's. I don't want to say it feels generic because it doesn't, but it also does at the same time. You know what I mean? It's just it doesn't click for whatever reason. It just doesn't feel just right.
yeah.
I don't know. I
It's
don't know how
missing
to
its own
describe it else.
identity.
Yeah. It's
Like
it's like when
if
you
I,
ever look in a crowd, right? And someone goes, "Hey, did you see that guy?" And you're like, "No, this is the most plainest looking person ever." Right? They blended in
it's very
perfectly.
generic. Yeah,
That's kind of what Splitgate is. So
it's the perfect generic middle. It's
yeah.
oatmeal. It's
It has a
unflavored oatmeal.
generic base, but it has a very generic presentation. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
I don't know. Like maybe if they made like some sort of map creator, like their own Forge tool or something that could.
But then they're
I don't
copying
know.
Halo
Yeah.
more.
I mean that's
You're
fine.
damned if you
Like
do, you're damned if you don't.
I mean, if you're gonna do
I
it, you might as well
guarantee
just
you,
go
dude,
all the way.
Someone on Forge is gonna make Splitgate in Halo, and Halo's gunplay
Like a
feels
portal.
better. So you're just gonna play that within Infinite.
Well, Halo's gunplay's just become more Call of Duty esque, like though, right over time.
It's been better. Infinite
Yeah.
feels like its own thing. Halo 4 felt like it was trying to be Call of Duty, but it's still Infinite feels like Halo.
I feel like Halo's suffering from the same problem where it's coming off almost like it's own generic shooter at this point in its lifespan as well.
Them going free to play was a double edged sword. That they're kind of falling on, because they had the idea to go free to play, which is great, but they don't have the free to play business acumen to actually do it properly.
Yeah.
The speed in which
Which
they're
I think
creating
is
maps
nice.
is nil to zero, and
But it doesn't have as much gotcha bullshit in it yet. But they've been keep adding, like they kind of had like the problem of like we're gonna have this battle pass, and it was like a terrible battle pass. So everyone was like, this battle, like people want to give you money, like just let me give you money and give me cool shit. And they're like, nah, dude, like you have to play like 3,000 hours of this game to get the cool shit. It's like, bro, you're charging me $40 for this? What the hell? Like, and they're like, that's part of the fun. Yeah.
yeah. Its problem is not having modes that the problem is you come to expect from certain things from Halo, and the fact
Yeah.
that Infinite was very bare bones. It didn't have standard deathmatch, dude, on launch.
Yeah.
What the fuck? um, 3 big team battle maps, one flag map. The maps where Capture the Flag was there were 2 maps, and only one of them really worked. It suffered because Halo is defined by how big of a sandbox it is, and you could just throw a bunch of people in a bunch of different game modes out, and like 9 times out of 10 it's going to be fun as shit. And the problem is their maps aren't designed that way. And
we had the most fun pre-launch when it was us and the boys co-oping split screen on the TV, like when we're all out in Wisconsin. And then I had like the launch party over here at my house where I got the Xbox S, and like we had 10, 12 dudes just drinking brews, playing
Yeah.
Halo and Gears, dude. That was great.
Yep. Yep. Well,
It still
but
shines. Still shines
that was the
local.
Master Chief Collection, and that was the
Yeah.
Gears, and that's an
Yeah.
Infinite.
Yeah.
That's what it is,
Yeah.
man.
It's
So
facts. You can't go back. Is that?
so
I think
eventually
more
this
people are playing Master Chief collections than Infinite still, right?
yeah. Yeah,
Dang.
which tell you something. So what, like I said, like we gave Infinite a very good review score for ourselves. We actually recommended it and was one of our most
Yeah.
played games of last year, which I still stand by. But the game positioned itself in a need to constantly evolve by being a free to play, like, you know, type
Yeah.
like game live service game.
It
And
came
it's
out
not.
embryonic. It came
Yes.
out like not even fully developed, and the tooling isn't there for it to be like fast enough to keep up with like like a monthly or weekly content drip
Yep.
that a free to play game is. But I'm like, if you're just looking for like base Halo, it's if you got Game Pass, it's there, and that's all
Yep.
right.
Yep. Exactly.
Uh, but you
I'll touch
you
on
got
this
to have
real
a
quick.
reason. Nobody's like, let's all boot up Halo, boys.
Exactly.
Nobody.
Exactly. So you did want to touch on, before we get into the meat of today's episode, which is the anti-cheat and gaming tutorials and things like that, is you wanted me to touch on my experience with the Halo TV show.
Oh yeah, dude, we're already this deep, dude, in the Halo territory. You've
Two
been burning up, dude.
two good episodes
Okay.
in a 9-episode season 1. And those 2 good episodes would not be a good episode in any other show. This
Hey,
thing set the
it's
bar
just
so fucking low that
Yeah.
the fact that I wasn't like bored to tears by 2 episodes was a positive. How in the fuck are you gonna spend all of this money? It's the most expensive show on television right now, and
Dang.
it's the most expensive show on any streaming
Does it
platform,
look
I
like it?
believe. No,
Damn.
it doesn't. The CG for the fucking aliens is fucking terrible. How in the fuck
Does it look
is
worse
that?
than the game?
So Neil Blomkamp, right, made like a Halo like proof of concept that looked a billion times better than this fucking a decade ago,
Yeah,
dude.
there's been a ton of fun fan made like
Yeah, the fan made
Halo
shit looks better
shows.
too, dude. And they get
There was
and
there's like a Super Bowl ad that they had that looks
Yeah.
better than
the
like
biggest thing about why the Halo TV show does not work and why the games work, why the books work, why the fucking spin-off series work is all of these other properties get what Halo is. They get what makes Halo interesting and they get what fans like about Halo, but they expand upon it with its own like special sauce, right? The TV show
what's it about, dude? What's the core Halo about? Spaceman doing space things?
Sure. But let me tell you what the TV show does not get. The TV show, why in the fuck is the Master Chief taking his helmet off every 5 seconds? Why it's explicitly stated in the books, in the shows, that the Spartans feel more comfortable with their helmets on because that feels like them. That's how they feel, like, so that strike one there because the dude's always
Catch a
like,
bullet,
also,
dude. Let's keep the
yeah.
helmet on at all times. You're in a war zone.
The espionage aspect of the show with Oni and the Space Marine force being like shady as fuck. Like it was touched upon in the games and even more so in the Reclaimer series that 343 produced. That shit's boring as fuck. I don't give a shit about that, and no one does because it's not interesting. At no point did they made any of this shit interesting. Like Halsey being a piece of shit who is only at it for her own ends and for the fate of the universe, but also her being kind of known as like the Reed Richards of that universe, being the smartest person in the fucking room
Like
at
a
all
god
times.
complex situation.
Yeah. Exactly. She should have had a god complex. She should be this morally ambiguous character, but also she should show true caring for the chief. Right?
Yeah.
She doesn't give a fuck, dude. She only cares about herself in this, and she's irredeemable in the show. Cortana not looking like the game is actually the stupidest thing ever.
All right. So I heard she fucking weekends at Bernie's Master Chief his body at the end of this. Is this true?
Fucking stupid. Fucking stupid. which isn't a thing. Which isn't a thing.
Are
They don't. I feel like the show was made by people who like looked at it and go, "Oh, he's a robot," right? And then when they found out he was a robot, they're like, "Shit, we got all this robot shit we wrote. Fuck it, we'll make him a robot at the end." It's fucking stupid, dude. And the thing is, then they had like the secondary character who was like the second protagonist, the girl from like in the first episode who her city or village or whatever the hell got destroyed, and why? I don't need to know this person ever. She doesn't matter. She didn't matter in the greater scheme of things. She didn't matter in the show. Half the time that she was on the screen, and like there was one episode where the chief was in there for probably 10 minutes, and it was all about this bitch. Like no one cares. Like no point in living, dude.
Does she help out? Is she like an awesome warrior? Does she have secret space coordinates?
Nope.
Is her like DNA like the key to winning? Is the village like a strong point that like
not
strategic?
At all. The village didn't matter.
All right, then.
She's just there.
All right, yeah.
It just, the show had no reason to exist, and the fact that they're going before the ring is fine.
If you guys, if somebody made like a Jar Jar Binks style edit and they just removed every scene with like this lady, could you tell?
Yeah, you could tell because one episode
missing.
Focused on her completely. But
yeah, but if you just like deleted the entire episode type of thing, like you just
no, because the show would still be boring as fuck. The problem is Halo is exciting, and that show is anything but. There's no okay, 2 episodes to the point where I was like excited to see what happened next. The other time, like I wasted 9 hours of my life watching that show.
Saw mystery, intrigue. Is there like massive war theaters where
the chief finding the alien artifacts was just a Deus Ex Machina plot device to get out of things. It's like, oh, the UNSC has him trapped in a ship. Oh no, the fucking alien device explodes and EMPs all their shit, so now he can get out safely. And every time something like that happens, where he's in a
magical
moment,
it's a wizard.
Magic helps.
That's not how science works. It's
bad
not
writing,
wizardry.
Dude. It's bad writing.
Do they think he's a space robot wizard? Is that?
They think he's a space robot Jesus, man. Like it's stupid. It's fucking stupid, and that's the problem. Like whenever, and comics used to have the same problem too, dude. Whenever Hollywood got a hold of a comic property, they just dumbed it down and they were like, "It's a comic movie. Who cares? It doesn't make sense." No, games are not the same, dude. Like Halo makes sense, and like no one's respecting it, and it's shitty. We need like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, right? Those work because they respect the medium that it came from. You know, the Halo TV show has some things from the games where you're like, okay, that's from the game, that's pretty cool. It's a little callback, but that was more fan service and not respecting of where it came from. So
yeah.
Hopefully the second season does it justice, because I know it's going to get one because it's too expensive to produce, and I think they're locked in for 3. But
can you turn the ship around at this point? Do you think? Is there still room
with the showrunners right now? Probably not. But
because I said this about the last Star Wars movie
if they're
that
on
came
the
out.
ring, I think if they get to the ring and he focus, then like the Covenant had a human that was kind of leading them too with the prophets. Was this fucking stupid, dude? Like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Where did they find a human?
It was dumb, dude. It was dumb. That's all I can say. I can't.
Did Master Chief die though? Like he's like a zombie right now, right? Cortana's just like puppeting around his like flesh body. It's like a Weekend at Bernie's situation.
He's not dead.
He's got some sunglasses on and a newspaper and a hat.
Plot, dude. It's fucking whatever plot.
Is he gonna get EMP'd back to life?
100%. It's so stupid. It's absolutely so stupid, dude.
They're gonna put him in a bucket of goo. Like he's gonna go into some sort of goo and come out, and he's alive again.
So here's the thing: Resident
goo.
Evil also had a TV show come out with on Netflix with was that Lance Reddick as Wesker. Which people are all like, oh, a black guy is Wesker, what the fuck, right? I'm like, who gives a shit, right? That's fine. Yeah. But the problem is, the show was bad.
This is the only good thing about the show.
He was the only good thing about it, dude. And the thing with the Halo TV show is, there was nothing good about it. Like the Master Chief was not the good thing about the show. the like Pablo Schreiber, I could tell that he really wanted the role. I could tell that he was excited about it,
Yeah.
but he was given nothing of substance to do with it. So
Like
when you
everything I've
have a
heard about
show,
this show is like
mhm,
nobody's actually bashing any of the actors. They're like they're only as good as the material they're given, and
yep,
like there's
the
no
material was
good.
crap.
Yeah, everyone's like we can't even tell. Like we're sure they're fine actors, but not with this material. Like not with what they're given. You can only do so much.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it'll get a second season. It'll be who gives a shit. The Resident Evil show on Netflix. God, I hope that doesn't get a second season because that was really fucking bad and had no point of existing.
But they
I
can
don't know
turn
what
it
the
around
fuck.
though, right? That's what you're saying. There's
The
hope.
Halo one, if they're
Yeah,
on the ring or they deal with like the true fall of Reach. I actually am against the Halo shows actually portraying the Master Chief. I actually thought it'd be better if you followed a different Spartan squad and then had the Chief come in. Because I think
yeah,
the smart thing to do with movies and like TV adaptations of Halo is to avoid what players have played through because they already know that story. I think
yeah,
doing it from someone else's perspective and then maybe having the player character that they all know and love come in, be the biggest badass in the fucking room that people want to see, but let your own characters do something because I thought a Halo show would work great. Like if we talk about pre Reclaimers trilogy, um, like up to like the fall of Reach, right? Like having that team be one of the Spartans that died on Reach, but fighting for the planet. If we do the Reclaimer trilogy, have it be someone who survived Reach, survived the Ring, right? Get met up with the UNSC again, and is helping Chief on because there's other Spartans there now. They're
yeah.
doing their own shit, but we're only following the Chief. I think it'd be cool to follow these other guys and see what's going on, and then they'll hear about the Chief's exploits, and then maybe they'll like season finales. Like what Boba Fett did. You have the character everybody wants to see, the Mandalorian in Boba Fett's case, versus or the Master Chief in this case, and have them do like a mission together. And people are like, "Oh man, I wish the Chief got his own show, right?" And you just never do it. You just always leave the fans wanting more because guess what? The Chief does have his own show. It's the fucking games. Play those.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. That's how I'd want to do it. That's why. That's
I've
why
heard people
like
who just want like the books, just put those, make that.
yeah.
Uh,
See, I think that's the
so
laziest thing, and I think
yeah, but
that's
like I still think that's probably better than what we got overall. Is like I'd rather have like a lazy book adaptation that's like semi faithful with like slight liberties here and there to like make it better for screen than
yeah.
just like made up adventures like with like random characters that we haven't seen before. It's like this isn't actually like this is like a puppet, not the person that the character that we know, like type of thing. It's
Yeah,
like this is like a new, this is basically like you slotted in like your own characters and plot, your own generic sci-fi fantasy into like an existing universe, and it's like falling apart on
but
like
it
every
worked with the
level.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I
So I
mean, it
think
can be
it
done.
can work. Yeah, I just think
Yeah,
like the people behind it have no skill to make it work. So
that's fair,
yeah,
man.
that's what it is. But near the end of the episode, but fuck it, let's get to the point. uh,
Anti-cheats ruining
so
your Linux playing experience, dude.
yeah, it's not even ruining it. It's just something that I thought about. The
Team
anti cheat
Fortress 2
and
unplayable right now.
the anti-cheat like rhetoric online is growing once again, and it's kind of because
Titanfall.
of the Steam Deck and in the VR world. VR chat is implemented easy anti-cheat,
It's
or was it
crazy
Battle.net? I
how
can't remember,
much
but
people want like Valve to clamp down on the Steam Deck. They're like they own everything now. You can have like hardware level verification to make sure nobody's cheating on it. To like bake it into the kernels of like every Steam Deck you put out to make sure nothing's going on.
oh yeah, it's not that bad. Yeah, no.
People are
um,
going nuts, dude.
so here's my thing on it. As an indie dev,
Avid
right?
Cheever. Oh.
As an indie dev, um, at the point of if you're an indie dev and you're making a multiplayer game, it is a necessary evil.
Whoa. Hold on. Before all this, have you ever cheated in a
No,
game?
no,
You ever download like any hacks, small hacks, bots?
no, never. Uh, I think also, but most multiplayer games that I got really into, I've tried to play it competitively as
All
well.
right.
It's always been my skill versus everything else. You know, never
I
have I
did
tried to
a
do
little
anything.
botting back in the day.
A little botting, like what kind of
Yeah,
botting?
just farming some stuff that I needed for my main character.
gold bots or something, or gold
No,
farms.
it was more a little bit of gold, a little bit of items, but it's for like my main account, so I could play at the same time, type of thing.
Oh, so you made a
Uh,
mule.
yeah, yeah. I made like a
Okay.
bot mule to like, and then I also made like a heal, like a
Was this on
mage to heal
L2?
me. Yeah, dude, it's back way back in the day. I was like, I did a little bit there, very briefly. I didn't get caught. I did not get banned. I didn't sell like the accounts or the gold or anything, but I did use those materials.
So let me ask you. Let
It
me
was
ask you
pretty
this.
sweet.
This is the big. This is the big thing.
It was great. Nothing feels. It's like Christmas every morning, dude. Where you have some robots farming for you, dude. Like you wake up, you're like, looks like I made 20,000 gold last night in bed. What are you guys doing? This Sigma male grind set, dude.
You're a piece of shit. Just so you know.
How's that ruining the game for anybody else, bro?
Did you PvP?
Yeah.
All right, there it is.
All right. I was already a high level PvP player before this, though. So did it help?
Allegedly. There's no
Probably.
there's no choice. There's no chance of you proving that you're a high level PvP player before that, though.
Okay.
Once you cheat, you're it's
Then
solid.
it changed your whole record. That
Yep.
you have to strip me of all the championships,
100%.
everything,
100%.
take all the trophies.
See, like
blacklist
cheating in
me off
single
the-
player is one of those things where it's your own experience, so who gives a shit, right? If you
Yeah.
if you want to like mod or like
Put on God mode in
shit,
Doom.
you
I did
know.
that for Half-Life Alex. I cheated there because like I got to the point where I was like throwing things and like the throwing wasn't reading correctly. And it's the part where you had to like get that guy to go like to wherever you
Jeff.
threw an object. Yeah,
Yeah.
my name is Jeff. So I was throwing things for him and like it wasn't like I'd go to throw and it would just drop it by my feet and it would just come and kill me. And about like the 8th time that happened, I'm like, all right, man, fuck this. I'm gonna just turn on God mode and just walk past this part. And then
You know
turned it back off after that. But yeah, like you sent me like a link to a tutorial, like read how to properly throw things in VR. I'm like, man, fuck this. I'm just gonna throw on some God mode real quick and walk by Jeff's ass, dude. Fuck it. Like I watched like a
I've seen
YouTube
you
video.
I've seen you play VR and you throw things just fine now.
Yeah, I mean, it takes time to. That was like
Yeah,
one of the first VR games I played. But yeah, it was like actively hurting my fun. But it's like a single player game, and it wasn't
Yep,
like impeding anybody else's fun.
So here's the thing. I think that
Confirmed cheater here over here, dude.
we have the problem because we both play games, we both make games, right?
Yeah.
I've never tried making a multiplayer centric game, but I think that if I did, and say that game blows up, right? I would be doing the people who are enjoying the game a disservice if I did not implement anti-cheat.
Yeah,
I think
especially
the
the way it has like
people-
competitive aspects.
Yeah, the people you piss
leaderboards.
off are less than the people who feel vindicated by you doing something to stopping cheating. You know, and you know, like, and then let's go to DRM. Let's
about-
get your opinions
well-
on cheating real quick.
I think it becomes more of like a gray area because now we have basically like legal cheats, like with pay to win aspects, where it's like if you're making like a let's say mobile game and it like blows up, and there's competitive aspects, and like you have parts of your game that people can like pay to like boost their character or get like better draws at gear or character, like your gotcha pulls. I feel like it's almost like a form of cheating, but like you're not quite right. Like it's a built-in mechanic.
That's within the game though. Like the developers built that in.
Yeah,
like,
well,
the
like
pay to
even
win
like
aspects.
MMOs, like when I started, you couldn't buy gold, but now like World of Warcraft offers like where you can just use real cash to buy gold from them directly. So it's like before that was considered cheating. If you had like your mule helping you out, carrying items for you, or picking up your gold for you, but now it's like not cheating if you give the developer $20. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so I think it becomes like a weirder gray, especially with every game now that comes out has some sort of cash mechanic in it where you pay money to get something out of the game and not necessarily items because like some games do it well, like League of Legends where it's just like a skin or something.
Yep.
So it doesn't actively change your experience or a competitive experience. But then there's games like I love the game like Summoner's War, but that's like there's a lot of pay to win mechanics in that where you can draw more summons or like get your ruins and rescribe those ruins. And they're like, hey, $99, you could get like a legendary ruin right now. Do you get a legit legendary ruin set, bro? come on.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, man, stop. Don't you tempt me with a good time. But then
Right.
it's like,
Right.
it almost kills the fun of the game though, too. Like if you, there was like that guy going around making the rounds where he paid like 100,000 in Diablo Immortal and like he can't find a match now because he's like the best. He won. He literally won the game. Like nobody's like in his elo because he like paid to win basically.
Yeah.
But if he had used like some third party means to do the exact same thing, that would have been considered cheating. But like it's not if you pay the company to get those things. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
It does. It does. And I think that that delves down into like the Korean method. So Korean gaming market's a little different than the Western gaming market because like pay to win stuff in Korea is considered fair.
Yeah,
Because like they work long hours, they like their government notoriously just like curfews their time for playing games, so
yeah.
you're not going to advance as much as someone with a bunch of time, right? So they have pay to win aspects to level you up and things like that to keep you on an
Speeds
even
up the
playing
game
field.
for you.
The problem is culturally, like here in the West, like we just have more time to play games, and it just and we have a bigger population as well, so then whales versus like the everyone else, it starts the balance starts tipping in like the whale's favor. It's like, okay, so this guy has like a pay to win sword that you can't, there's nothing in the free to play thing that will match it, so I have to also buy this sword, so then it creates an arms race that way. I think that
Cash arms race.
I think unscrupulous devs benefit from this. I think like things like Take Two Interactive and stuff love shit like that, and it just
Yeah.
like a lot of that stuff doesn't fly in the West. And I think like the publishers would love if it did. Mobile gaming will never be like standard gaming because of the pay to win aspects.
I mean,
Um,
if you look at like what they're doing with Game Pass with like Halo, like they added in like a bunch of almost cash shop esque things, and we're upset that they don't have more of it. We're like, we don't really see the benefit of giving you money because we're not getting enough cash style stuff from what we're paying, like in a battle pass. You know?
zero parts of that though alter the game.
Yeah,
It's all cosmetic.
cosmetic stuff
I
for
think,
now.
yeah. I think that cosmetics are fine. I think at this point in 2022, in a game development cycle, that uh, paid cosmetics are a necessary evil to keep the lights on for developer studios and to keep your the game you love supported. I think certain games like the Cycle Frontiers, for example, I absolutely love the development team behind that, Jaeger Interactive. They made one of the best criminally underrated action games of all time in Spec Ops: The Line, and I am happy that they have a game that is doing gangbusters. And their Orem shop, it's all cosmetic.
Yeah,
Like,
I think we're both on the same page overall. Where it's
mhm.
like we don't necessarily mind like pay mechanics in a game that help cosmetically or change up things. I think we both agree that like when it gets to altering gameplay, where it's like if you can buy gold, I think that's goes more towards the dark side. It's less gray there,
Yeah,
where because like you said, it's like, well, did you use those items to help you win in like your PvP after that? It's like, yeah, well, it's like, well, you fucking cheated, bro. But like
yeah,
if I had paid, NCSoft the like $20 and
yeah.
like got it from them, you're like, well, that's fine. That's part of the game, bro. Yeah, put up or shut up. And then it gets a little bit. I
I
think
do
that's
think you
like
should have
that
been
gets
put in a different PvP like arena though.
a different server.
Yep,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
paid for your goods.
I
Like,
mean, they don't
I
even
mean,
do that in World of Warcraft. That's the point of being
they
a whale,
should.
bros, to eat the minnows,
Yeah,
bro.
I know. Just not for me,
But
man.
yeah, and then when it goes off from there, I think it's when you start actually altering the game, where you can see opponents through walls. You have like aim assist, where you can shoot people around corners or lock snap to heads type of thing. I think like everybody basically agrees. Like now you're basically ruining everybody else's fun at that point. Like maybe it's fun for you to like do that. That's you're like, LOL, this is funny. I like seeing people rage, but it doesn't feel great for the other person who's out there raging. And I've heard the same argument for that as well. That Valve should open up like a cheat server for people who want to use cheats, and just let people who have cheats play other people who have cheats. And then like somebody in the comments was like, and then they can monitor and figure out how to like cheat bust everybody else. Like, find out what cheats people are using and figure out how to, stop other people from cheating. But yeah, so I wanted to cover
The
that before
problem
we
is
go in.
it puts the cheaters on an even playing field, which is what they don't want.
Yeah, so they're just gonna like creep in to
Into other
regular
teams, so
matches.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think if you're making a game, you definitely need to consider like uh, everybody's general level of fun, and then like the gray area, then that work gets into like more of like a dark area. Like I think it's gonna be a little bit different for everybody else. Like I think as soon as you start infringing on other players' fun, like you should consider like, do I need to parse this game out to like have like people who are paying to win, like have like their own little sandbox to play, or do I need to like have it where other people who aren't paying to win have like some sort of mechanic in there to help boost them up as well. That way it like makes more of an even playing field where it's like every X amount of dollars, like, like some sort of massive prize pool comes out for everybody who, didn't pay money.
Yeah.
And then people who pay money are like, you're actively punishing me. But it's like, no, man, I'm helping you because you're not going to have any competition if everybody sucks, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
So uh, there's definitely ways about it, but I think most bigger businesses don't really consider the general population. They're just like chasing the whales, chasing the leviathans out there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's probably true. I we're nearing the end of the time, so we might not have enough time
This
to
is
talk about the tutorials and stuff this episode. We'll do it next episode
yeah,
for
it's
sure. Because
fine.
I do think that's a bigger talk than what's allowed here. Um, Final thoughts on cheating here. I'm not for it. Um, I I think no
How do you feel
parts of
about
it. Go ahead.
third-party vendors like anti-cheat software that you can license out? Because I know like
Ex-
Unity has some options. I think
yep.
Game Maker might have some stuff
Game
in
Maker
there.
has a $20 like it's like GF anti cheat or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, it's made by a community member and then paid. I think that those things are a necessary evil because if the developers are tasked with making the game, marketing the game, supporting the game after, right, and also doing anti cheat functionality, like that's too much. You can't. You absolutely have to have a dedicated team to deal with cheats if you have a
yeah,
multiplayer game. So I think these third party things are necessary. And
yeah.
the problem
Bare
with the third
minimum.
party, yeah, bare minimum. I think the problem with the third party things too is, yes, they have a dedicated team for it, but people still have to get paid at the end of the day,
Yeah,
right? So it's such a tough thing to do, man. I think it's better than before, but the problem is gaming's gotten more popular as well. Because I'm like thinking back to like Unreal Tournament, Quake 3, right? I'm like, I don't remember. Like Punkbuster seemed to work pretty well. I'm like, no, Punkbuster fucking sucked because I remember like a
yeah,
bunch of cheaters being in. But also like community like mods and stuff like that. What you could vote kick players out, or there's typically a mod on the server to kick cheaters out and ban them and stuff like that. I think the advent of matchmaking, which kind of was glorified from the Xbox era, I think matchmaking is fantastic because it's no fuss, no muss. You don't have to go through a server browser to
yeah,
pick a server. You just click play and then you get matched up together, right? Works great.
yeah.
But that also led to cheating being harder to control because you don't have a server moderator looking at an individual match going, oh, something's up with this person. They're fucking cheating. Let me ban them, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think there's no real good answer to it. I don't like it. When single player, who gives a shit? That's my take on it. It's not that big of a deal. How if people want to make their own fun that way, make their own fun that way. But I think devs who embrace it and have like a cheat mode, like you could unlock cheats in it, I think they get it. I think they get that
Yeah,
games are
like
supposed to be fun.
Celeste,
Yep, yep, yep. So a bunch of
where you
games
just have
do
like
that.
I don't want to die mode. You can just like go
Yep,
through the game.
yep. So I think some get it. Certain games that I don't think would ever have it, like a Contra or something. If Contra had them, like, what the fuck you guys doing?
That's the Konami code, bro. What are you talking
Well,
about? This is one of the OG cheats.
well, remember though, that wasn't like publicly available. That was just the developer dev code to get through their
Yeah,
own game.
I put that same code in my
I put it in my
dice
games too.
game.
I put it in my games too.
You get to the shop screen
Yeah.
down there, just throw in the Contra code.
How seventh gen developers dealt with that, where they still had cheats in the game, but you wouldn't get achievements for using cheats. I think that's the perfect balance, truly.
Yeah, I
Um,
definitely think that having a closed ecosystem helps prevent a lot of stuff. Like, people talking about like the Steam Deck or stuff. Cheats definitely went down when the home consoles came to market at first, because it's like you had to be some kind of maniac to be like, I'm going to go in here and mod this hardware to like be able to like inject some sort of code into the game to help me play better.
Yeah.
I know things have gotten a lot easier now with like people making hardware that you can just like purchase online that like helps you out with like aims or whatever else. They got like real-time video that like looks at your screen and then like will like adjust your reticle for you like on your controller. But at certain points, like you're not even playing. Like you're literally watching somebody else play the game for you.
Yeah.
And you go to Twitch and watch our boy Intoxicated Fable there. If you want to see some high-level World of Tanks play, you don't need to cheat. You just watch a god tier aimer god
True.
tank
True.
sniper.
That's true. On that note. But yeah, dude, you're right. You're right. I think I'm not for it. I think as an indie dev, we have to be aware of it, though.
Yeah.
Same thing with piracy. We didn't really talk about that much, but it's something we have to be aware of. I think.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I think
we got 5 minutes. You got to touch on DRM.
I think it comes down the same line of thinking as like you only have so much time to work on preventing piracy or cheating, and the pirates and cheaters have infinite time and money to develop ways to break your game open. So eventually it is going to happen. I think I agree with you where as a developer, if it's like a single player game or something, you should embrace it a bit more and add in a way to get those features. I know like a lot of people who are like hobby level or indie level game makers have like games that they'll put out and they'll be like, hey man, if you stole this game, like, I get it. Like I used to not have money either. Like, please follow me on social media or like, buy our next game when you're coming about with better financial circumstances. I'm glad that you're enjoying the game. Thanks for playing type of thing. But like it'll randomly interrupt. So I think independent studios are more embracive of that culture. I think big corporations like have zero tolerance policy for it, where they'll like break your game or possibly your hardware. Like if you, try and steal some shit from them at this point in the game. But it's weird, man. It's hard. It's hard to do.
It is tough. I'm curious,
especially like the more popular you are.
I'm curious the people who don't like the DRM and stuff. I get like intrusive DRM or stuff that's more like spyware, right? I get not liking it. I don't like it either, right? But on the other hand, what would you do? What's the alternative? Just let your game get stolen. I
mean, they're dealing with this even at the Library of Congress right now, bro. Where like the Library of Congress is getting sued because they're like, oh, you gave out digital copies of these books and games during the pandemic, and it's like, yeah, bro. And they're like, well, you can't do that. And they're like, well, it's the same thing as checking out a book basically, but it's a digital version. And they're like, this is bullshit. Pay us. So even libraries are dealing with this. So we're gonna need,
I think it's a case of technology advancing faster than like the laws and stuff can keep up.
It's the letter of the law, but not the spirit of the law.
Yeah. So I think, some food for thought, guys. So ending it here. I think
share, subscribe.
Don't cheat, you fuckers. In multiplayer.
We'll kick your ass, dude. Out of the game. Out of our Christian Minecraft server.
Watch Intoxicated Fable play World of Tanks. I'm Mr. Gimpy.
Hit 'em up.
You guys have a great day. We'll see you next time. We out.
Peace.